Good morning. So I would like to begin to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I am streaming from today. I would like to extend that acknowledgement to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders who may be watching today or in the future. Sovereignty was never ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. My name is Miss Cairo. My pronouns are she, her, and welcome to the 6th episode of Conversations with Miss Cairo. I am a light brown skinned woman. I have a medium brown afro, which is a little bit wet and damp today because I just got out the shower. I'm wearing a navy blue long dress, but you can just see the top of it. I'm sitting on a green chair with some pink roses on it. There's a beige curtain behind me with some light streaming in. And there is a fireplace to the left of me with a circular mirror and a few photos on the top, and a beautiful fern, which is doing well today. It was hard rubbish, or it's hard rubbish at the moment in Windsor. And we've also got a new fig leaf that was left abandoned. So our house is slowly becoming a little rainforest, which I'm really happy about, bringing in a lot of new oxygen into the room. So saying that, talking about oxygen, let's just do a couple of breaths together, just so we can center and connect and just have a little moment of rest and relaxation. So we're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and out for 5. And we're going to do that 3 times today. So breathe in. Hold. And out. And in. And out. One more time, and in. Hold. And out. Thank you for joining in with me on that one. It's always nice to remember to breathe. So how am I this week? I'm really good. I have had 2 therapy sessions this week. Aren't I very lucky? I had my regular therapy session, and I had an incredible session with a friend of mine, a life coaching session called Lady Boner. Next week, I will get the Instagram handle. I forgot about that one. And it was just meant to be a little cute catch up, but it ended up being a full-on life coaching session, and I'm so grateful I had it. And then I also had my chiropractor session. So this week it was all about self-care for me. Obviously, the last probably 6 weeks, well, actually this last year has been a lot. But there's still a lot of fallout from kind of things that have been happening. And I've been talking about this quite often, like how I have been neglecting my self-care. But I think this week it feels like the first time I've been back on track with my self-care. And we can always improve, and we can always be kinder to ourselves. But I feel like I have started to get a bit more consistency with my self-care. So my self-parent has come back in and is telling me to go to bed much earlier. So gradually I'm going to bed, earlier and earlier. We're still hitting at the, I think, 2 a.m. mark, which is fine. But I'm getting enough sleep. I've been able to hang out with friends this week, which has been nice, like socially distanced in the park. And I've discovered non-alcoholic sparkling wine. It's probably been out there for a long time, but I've been sober for 4 months now, sober and smoke-free. It was never a conscious decision to be sober, but I just naturally, found that I didn't want to smoke or drink during lockdown, and I couldn't afford it. But it was really nice, to be able to participate in the things that I did like about drinking. So popping a bottle, pouring it into a glass, feeling all of those things, but not the actual feeling of intoxication and the anxiety the next day. So it was just really nice to be able to participate and be responsible for myself. And it means that I can enjoy my friends' company while they're drinking as well. And I don't have to feel like I'm, a burden or anything like that. So that was a new shift for me this week, a little bit of self-health, self-care. So yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling positive. Feeling happy, which is really nice. It's a nice space to be in. It's also my birthday in 2 weeks' time, so 22nd of October. I like cards and presents. So I am going to introduce my guest this week, which I'm very excited about because they are one of my closest and dearest friends. Side note, they were actually the last person to be in my house during the lockdown, not during the lockdown, in between the lockdowns when it was okay to do. So this is how much we're friends. Perhaps she's most well known for her recent critically acclaimed performance as Catherine Parr in Six. Vidya Makan is one of Australia's most exciting new talents. She is a GRA-nominated actor, singer and composer / lyricist, dedicated to changing the scope of the conventional Australian musical theatre scene. She is currently working in collaboration with Hayes Theatre Company on a new song cycle called Straya, The Lucky Country, as well as a few other projects yet to be announced. Vidya is also a proud member. Vidya is also proud to be a panellist on this year's AOC Initiative. So normally when I'm on stage, I will get people to whoop, holler and cheer, but we're all not in a theatre right now. So do it from your living rooms, do it from your bedroom, do it from your kitchen or your balcony, and whoop and holler and cheer as we introduce our guest for today, Vidya Makan.
Hello.
Hi, babe.
Intro. Hey, my love.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm really well.
Oh my God, yay. First off, I miss the hell out of you.
I miss you too.
How are you?
I'm good. I actually, I went out with friends, some new friends in Brisbane last night. It's really funny. My mum's just thrilled that I'm hanging out with people. She's like, great. So I'm a little tired today, but no, I'm good. I probably shouldn't flaunt that to all of our Victorian viewers.
Do you know what, though? Like, at the end of the day, people should still be able to enjoy themselves as long as they're doing it safely. Like, you're lucky up in Brisbane. Well, you're lucky you got out of here in time.
I fled.
Yeah, and we just happen to have a few more cases than we should be. Like, it's no one's fault. So enjoy it. Like, tell me more about what you did last night, if you can.
Oh, I went out for a drink, and then we walked, and then I found some rosemary, and I took a thing of rosemary, and then we came home and ate dumplings. It was crazy.
Oh, I've dried out, when you came over, I've dried out all of the herbs that you gave me from your garden. So we still got like a bit of thyme. I think it was dill, thyme and rosemary?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of parsley as well, but I feel like we ate the parsley.
Yeah, we ate the parsley with our Spanish food that I made.
You guys need to check out Cairo's cooking. It's very good.
I've been quite bad the last month because I haven't been cooking. Greg's going to be watching in the bedroom and he's probably going to be laughing at this, but I've been so distracted with life. Well, not with life, with the people at Cabaret and
you're changing the world.
You're changing the world.
Beyonce doesn't cook. I mean,
Exactly. Hear that, Greg? Beyonce doesn't cook. But yeah, so what have you been up to?
God, it's been a lot, the past couple of months.
Yep.
But most recently, I've just been getting back to what I do, which is writing and auditioning and, the thing. And that's felt really nice because I didn't realize how much of me I've been costing myself through all of the amazing things that have been happening, for sure. But when that becomes all that you do, you forget what it is you're actually talking about, which is your own craft. And it's been nice to actually get back into that. Yeah.
We've obviously spoke before, well, lots before, but we spoke about like yesterday about what we're going to talk about, and like we know we're not going to give the certain things space. But like, yeah, it's been really exhausting in the industry. Like, you've basically become a bit of an icon in our industry because you've been speaking out and advocating against, you know, the inequalities that we face as people of color.
That's so strange. Like, to me, sorry, like the word icon is just, I do not relate to that at all. I have been called a bit of a leader, which fair enough. But what I've found weird about is that I haven't changed any of my behavior. I've always had a public conversation about this stuff, and I've always used my platform, even though it wasn't much of a platform back then, to say the same things that I'm saying now. And it's a weird thing to like nothing in you changing, but then suddenly the world is listening. And yeah, it's a really weird space to navigate, because it's not something it's not something that I think of myself as. I don't think of myself as like a leader or an
advocate, or
it's kind of weird territory, because there are people who do this stuff for a living. And I'm not one of them. I'll write songs till the cows come home, but yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole thing of lived experience. Like,
oh, I mean, sorry, this is about my my mug, by the way. This is from my roommate. I probably shouldn't be putting this on.
Wait, is that your bum or someone else's?
No, somebody else's bum. My old housemate's bum. Okay. Sorry, Daniel.
It's a very nice bum, Daniel. Well done. Yeah, I mean, like I've been advocating for like the last 10 years, and it's so exhausting when you've been saying this stuff for so long and now people decide to listen. And it's like, oh god, all that wasted time. You could have just listened beforehand.
Well, it's like, to me, the stakes of that are really big. I had a big realization early on in the piece where I suddenly saw all of these people who I've tried to actually engage in conversations with before, and I've been dismissed, or like just like people who have never been a part of and it's great. It really is amazing that all of these things are happening. I truly feel great about that. But something I found really hard to digest was the idea that, like, is this what it takes for you to actually listen? Because the subjects aren't new. The world in which we like, does it take having to be forced to be at home and having, whereas when these questions are asked before, and that's kind of something I was like, that sucks. But it's not about focusing on the negatives at all. But all of it has weight, and what that does to you as a person of color or as a marginalized voice, you're like, oh, like that in itself has weight to it. It affects you. It's not as simple as great, woohoo, things are happening. It's
I think I mean that's definitely we've spoke about, like, this is what we want to talk about, like the realness of what's actually happening, like how we're affected. And we don't want to sit there and dwell on the trauma or the pain or whatever, but we also have to be real about it. Like, you've been put on a pedestal in the industry. You never asked for that. Like, you've just created, you've just made beautiful work. You've just happened to have a stunning voice in more ways than one, and the emotional toll that it's had on you, it's unfair. Like, to the point, I think I can say this, to the point that you've got off of Instagram because it was getting too much for you. Like, that's not safe for marginalized people, or for any artist to have to remove themselves out of the conversation because it's getting too much. Like,
I think it's just very exposing. It puts you in a very kind of vulnerable place, and you don't realize the world of social media is strange because it's not real, and yet you react to it. And it affects you in very real ways. I just felt it build and build and build and build. And then on Friday with stuff, I actually, like, that day I had to do 2 self-tapes, or like a self-tape with blah, 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 blah. and like write 2 songs. That's what I needed to do. And I love working. That's when I'm actually in my happiest space. So when I talk about self-care, like I don't know if this is unhealthy, but you know, doing what I do is my self-care. It's what I love to do. And it's when I'm my happiest. And I couldn't, like, I'm in my own space. Nothing had happened. I was just on this thing. And I was so anxious. It was hard to function. And I didn't get those songs written. I got half of the self-tape done. And I just went, usually when I delete Instagram, because I often do for like a couple of days or a couple of hours, and then I'll download it again. There's always this thing in me that's like, oh, you know, I want, like, it's a bit of a battle.
Yeah, a bit of FOMO.
Whereas now it's really like, I actually just don't want to touch it for a while.
Yeah.
It's like I've eaten too much cake.
Yeah. I had to delete a lot of people off, not because I didn't like them, but because I was like, wait, I need to actually start seeing people who reflect me in who I'm following. I need to follow self-help things. I need to follow good affirmations. I need to actually create this space for me that is really positive. And like, you know, I'm reading through a screen of amazing things. But then what happens is, you know, when crap does happen in the industry or whatever, like people then talk about it. So then you're actually just reading through it constantly.
Yeah.
And then you're being like, you know, I feel you massively. We'll get onto why you've been a viral sensation in a sec. But for the fact that like I'm running the People of Cabaret account and I'm being tagged in everything. Like, or sorry, not I, but like the People of Cabaret has been tagged in literally everything, and myself and someone else is managing the account. So I'm constantly reading trauma. And although people think, oh, what I'm saying is really great, it's like, it's traumatizing because you have to be saying this. Like, this is the hard thing. Even when you're saying great things, it's hard. You can't escape it.
Yeah. And it's hard because like, I think these conversations need to happen. The way that it actually needs to be happening. It's just, for me, I'm like, okay, great. It's happening. I'm going to get back to
doing what I do.
Do this, you know, and do my thing now, because it's yeah.
Well, I mean, that leads us perfectly into like what you've done. Like, so again, not giving the space for anything, but you know what's been happening. You actually acted on it creatively, and I think that's one of the most powerful parts of activism. But it also wasn't just activism; it was just a space to create. So do you want to introduce it, and then we'll show a little clip?
Yeah, for sure. So I made, for anyone who's not aware, if you're not aware, what are you doing?
Where are you been? Under a rock?
I did a call out of, God, maybe it was 6 weeks ago or something. I don't know how long it's been. On my Instagram, because I was just sick of the rhetoric, the same things that we that we hear over and over again when it comes to whitewashing and like a lack of diverse representation or a lack of visibility. And at this point, I actually didn't know what I was going to do, but I made a call out going, I'm going to write a song by any BIPoC artists, and it eventually stretched out to culturally and linguistically diverse artists as well. Please reach out to me. Let's be part of the revolution. I pitched it as like Project Revolution. And I had an influx of all these amazing performers, and I ended up having 101 BIPoC and CALD performers be a part of this project, which ended up being this song called INeed YouToSeeMe, which is an open invitation to the industry for visibility and for what we can create together. Yeah.
Let's listen to a little clip of it.
To be free at last.
Let's step into tomorrow. Let's not repeat our past. No longer will I rub off my skin. No longer do I scrub to fit in.
We know you've got to be taught to hate,
but also you've got to be taught you can be great. Despite it all, I still believe that your world never saw me. Look what I've already achieved. I won't let you ignore me.
Oh, every time. It's so incredible.
Thank you.
Like, well done. Like, well done
Thanks.
to everyone who was part of it. Like, the importance of I mean, we were quite lucky. We got to see a little clip of it before it was released, and that was when a big group of people of color were together healing over trauma, and we were all in tears. And it was such a mixture of elation, a bit of feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling part of something, feeling angry and feeling justified in our anger. It brought out all of this beautiful, like, affirmative, validating feelings, which we just don't get to see. You know, we always have to attach our feelings to these things, but this was written for all of us. And
Totally.
I mean, there's a reason why you're a bloody icon, and you should just sit with that and enjoy it. But like, yeah.
One of my highlights of this whole journey was actually we threw an opening night party on the Friday that it was released, and we had the cast. There's probably about 60 of the 100 that could make it. Meet the creative team, because it really was a big collaborative effort as well. And at about like 10 minutes till 10, which is when it was going to be out in the world, we like had everyone play it. And so I got to like kind of creepily like watch everyone's reactions on the screen as they were watching it, and just like flicking through pages on Zoom of amazing young marginalized voices seeing themselves represented for the first time at this scale. And that was like when I went, this is why. It's in some ways it's like, yes, it's for the industry, and yes, it's an open letter, and yes, it's a call for change and call for action. But then there's a whole part of it that's also like not really for those people as well. It's for us. It's for it's for the kids, or for like, I don't know, anyone who ever has felt marginalized, to just see themselves represented. And it's like meant to be like a big hug, you know.
Like, I mean, we met doing, so you have to forgive me, I completely forgot the title of the show. I know the song. What was the title of the show that you were working on?
So the first musical that I started working on was a piece called Woman.
Oh, that was it. Oh, God. How could I forget that now?
Just, this concept. But yeah, so Woman was this is an interesting conversation, and I like to talk about it because I think it in itself is kind of a metaphor for like a great way of working around this conversation. So Woman, it was like my first musical that I had this idea of, and I worked on it for a couple of years full on. It was based on the lives of Lily Elba, who, if you don't know who that is, her story inspired The Danish Girl, and her wife, Gerda Wagner, who was this like incredible feminist painter at the top of the 20th century. This couple living in Bohemian Paris. Lily Elba, in Western accounts, is one of the first recorded trans women to get a sex reassignment surgery. And I worked on this piece for a long time, and actually ended up finishing all of Act 1. That's like a lot of music, a lot of work, a lot of hours. And I actually got in touch with Cairo to sing one of Lily Elba's songs, and she was amazing. But what's interesting about the project is when I remember we sat down in my car and we had that conversation, and you had to say to me, you're like, I think it's great, but there's something in it. If you don't mind, I don't want to be involved anymore. And I was like, what? Okay. Whoa. All right. Okay. And so that was one of the first red flags where I was like, okay, there's something problematic about this. Is like, that says a lot. And then getting in contact with Rosalind Silva, who is an incredible dramaturg, like just her brain is incredible. Also a trans woman who like helped me underpick like last year's development that I did with Watch This. We did this big development and it went really well, and Rosalind was awesome in it and like helped converse. And at the end of the development, I was like, so what did you think? And she's like, can I be really, really honest? I said, yeah, go on. She's like, the pitch of the show, the whole idea of what you have is problematic in itself. Because your storyline is we meet this guy named Andre Aspar, who's this incredible male painter who's like renowned and everybody loves him. And we see this journey of like from like man to woman. And if you really want to give voice to trans storytelling, that like in its essence and the root of what you do, it doesn't matter what words you say or the way that you write it, it's always going to be problematic because of the way that and that I reckon, that was part of, for you, Cairo, like why you kind of walked away from it, even though you're my friend and you kind of believed in the project. And that at that point I went, okay, I need to listen, because even though I am a marginalized voice, we all have our own privilege and we all have our own stories, and I am not a trans woman. So I was putting totally right. I was putting my lens and like, I wanted to write this thing and I thought it was great. But yeah, all of those years and all of that time it's not gone to waste at all. But I've had to really put it aside, and I've got a couple of other projects that I'm really working on now, and I'm sure I will get back to women, but when I do, I'm looking forward to completely restructuring. There might be things that I keep. That's just the journey of writing. But I think that in its essence is a metaphor for how this works. Like, you can put in the hours, you can put in the love, you can have the intention, but you have to listen. Mm-hmm. When you're called out, it's a hard pill to swallow. It seriously is, but it will only lead to bigger and better things.
And I mean, that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up, because for me, being a trans actress in that position, I felt so safe with you at every step of the way to be able to, like, I think we went for drinks in St Kilda last year, and I kind of ripped the piece to shreds because I'd had a few drinks. This is why I'm sober now. But
being honest is not tough on you, babe.
No. But you've always made me feel comfortable that I can pull you up, and I knew that it wouldn't affect our friendship because you care so deeply about what you're doing and what your voice is. So it doesn't make me laugh, but like, whenever you're like, I'm not an activist, I'm an artist, I'm like, but you are an activist. And like, as much as we have this idea that an activist is like pitchforks and this, and do you hear the people saying, when activism is in the way we work, it's the way of our self-awareness. And like, be proud of being an activist, because it is innately who you are, but also like, people need to respect that you are a human being, and you are this. It's not your job to be everyone's poster child for these things. So I don't know where I'm going with it. I just like you astound me as an artist, and you astound me as a leader in your art as well. And it is, I don't want to say this because like we're friends, or you're on my show or whatever, but like, I'm full of so much joy to know that you are in this industry doing what you're doing, and I'm so happy that INeed YouToSeeMe is getting the traction that it deserves and needs to, because it's voices like yours that we need in the industry, and not because you're of color, not because you're a woman, not because of this, because of what you are doing and what you were saying. Like, screw the identity part of it. I mean, that is all important, but like, your voice is your voice and your approach to things is what is refreshing. So well done, babes. Well done.
Thank you. That's really, really sweet and very kind.
But we're gonna have a little chat after this in our little VIP thing, because we're coming to the end of the show. In fact, on time for once, might I add. Yeah, like, oh God, I'm gonna gush again. Bloody hell! I'm so proud to know you. I'm so proud of what you've been doing. I'm sorry you've been going through this crap. That you're resilient as hell, and you're beautiful, and you're stunning.
Thank you, my love. I feel all the same things about you.
I can't wait to, in our VIP, talk about the show that we've both gone for. So is there anything that you want to plug before we move over?
Just be a good human.
Plug
that.
So you can follow Vidya on Instagram, although she's not going to reply at the moment because she's having a little break. Please also, and this is a public service announcement on behalf of Vidya, please stop tagging her in stuff unless it's really nice things.
I don't mind it. It's more just you're welcome.
You're tagging.
Yeah, I don't mind getting tagged and stuff. It's just like, yeah. Actually, I don't mind it.
Be gentle with Vidya when she comes back on Instagram. How about that one?
Bless.
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah. Yep. So I will see you in a little second. Wait, do you have? Is there anything that you need to plug show wise?
Not at the moment. Feel free to stream I Need You to See Me, share it with your friends and family, even if they're not in the industry. That's I think it's just a cool one that just speaks to anyone, really. So yeah, we have some really cool announcements about things that are happening with it as well soon. So that's going to be cool.
So stay tuned.
Ooh, stay tuned.
Right,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll chat to you in a sec, and I love you, and see you in a sec.
Mwah. Love you, Caro.
Love you. So grateful to have Vidya on the show today. She's a marvelous woman. As you can tell how much I've gushed today. So, oh God, I forgot to ask Vidya what she's going to do this week for her self-care. Damn, it's all right. I'll ask her in the VIP, and then. So I've just knocked a lamp over. So we have a little announcement to make. With the hashtag I give myself, we have had someone post something. So, oh God, Akansha Ahanganahali posted a beautiful photo of her bedroom that she tidied. And it was just really nice to see her, do that self-care of tidying and having a nice space for, to operate in. So Akansha, there is a little present on the way to you. To everyone else, in the next week, I want you to send me images or statuses or little comments about what you have been doing to give yourself, good self-care. So it could be a tidy bedroom, it could be a nice meal, it could be a bubble bath, it could be something that you saw on your 2-hour government sanctioned walk. But yeah, keep the conversation going and make sure you tag me in it. And then there might be a little present on the way to you. Thank you so much for joining me and Vidya today. I want to thank Antipodes Theatre Company for facilitating this amazing show. You can donate at this link here that goes to all of the Antipodes Theatre Company. Finds its way back to the artists as well. No, it goes straight to the artists. I want to thank Brandon and Melissa for all of their amazing work. I want to thank Chloe Towan, who did the incredible graphics. I want to thank Greg Dennis, who did the photograph of me. And I want to thank my guest, Vidya Makan, who is beautiful. And I want to thank myself because I am an amazing person and I'm doing really well and I love myself. So I want you to say this with me as well. I am kind. I am beautiful. I am amazing. And if you're struggling to say that today, make sure you try and say it at least one point during the week. Love you, Carrie. Thank you, Shannon. You are incredible too. I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Outro.